Greetings and welcome back to Asafo Academic. So, this is a new addition to the Black conservative family. We have Amala Ekpunobi, I'm pretty sure, but if I butcher that, sorry to the Nigerians. This is her last name's of a Nigerian origin, right? But the reason why I'm adding her is because she's I would say emerging voice for the conservatives. Um, she's biracial, obviously, and I want to talk about that aspect because this idea of Black conservatives and the solution to the problem of Black people is essentially to go into the melting pot, figuratively and literally, right? So I'm gonna play this video, so I don't come across the wrong way in this subject. I know mixed race is a very touchy subject for sure, but I want to explain how her being biracial is perfect in terms of growing an audience amongst Gen Z. So I'm just gonna play this video here.
Have you ever wondered what people will look like in the future? These stunning pictures and fascinating theories about the year 2050 and beyond will blow your mind. Just wait till you see the predictions for 100,000 years from now. They look like they're straight out of a sci-fi movie. If this is your first time visiting our channel, don't forget to subscribe and please give this video a big thumbs up. Today we're sharing what humans will look like by 2050 and beyond. Multiracial diversity. In 2013, National Geographic celebrated its 125th anniversary with an issue about the changing face of America. Lise Funderburg wrote the article in the October magazine, and photographer Martin Scholler took portraits of multiracial families. The feature celebrated the beauty of multiracial diversity, and the images challenged traditional notions of identity. The pictures were deemed to be intriguing because they disrupted our expectations of what kinds of features typically go together. We don't normally see that skin tone with that eye color or that hairstyle with those kinds of lips. And it got the nation talking about identity, expectation, and race. The article also discussed the limitations of historic categories relating to race. With such a change in the US population, predictions were made about how Americans will look in the year 2050. Fast forward a few decades to that moment in time, and humankind in the States will show even greater racial diversity. The average American will be mixed race. This
Said the average American will be mixed race.
is due to the rise in interracial marriages and the rise in biracial birth.
This is due to the rise in interracial marriages and the rise in biracial births.
And it was the change to the census form that made all the difference to the way people defined race in an official format. The change in census forms. For the first time in the year 2000, the U.S. Census Bureau released a census form that allowed people to choose more than one category in the race section. At that time, 6.8 million people did so. Move forward to 2010, and that number increased by 30.
See, 6.8 were able to choose multi-racial categories. Now it moved to, that was 2010. So these are actually old numbers.
32% to 9 million. This made it one of the fastest growing categories and enabled the U.S. Census Bureau to start collecting detailed data on multiracial people. Compare that to the 1960s census, which showed that the U.S. was 99% black or white. The
Look at that.
increase suggests that by the time we reach 2050, the beautiful diversity of multiracial people will be the norm. This change in the census form was a welcome step in the right direction for many who had felt limited by the previous racial categories that dated all the way back to the late 18th century. German scientist Johann Friedrich Blumenbach established 5 natural varieties, which were black, brown, red, white, and yellow. Of course, any categorization is still problematic, but the modern multiple race options allows individuals more choice in describing their racial identity. All kinds of influences are at play when we decide which boxes to check out on such a form, including loyalty to heritage and situational advantages. Interracial marriages. Incredibly, as recently as 1966, 17 states still had laws against interracial marriages. But that kind of position has long been abolished, and interracial marriages have been increasing over the last few decades. A report released by the Pew Research Center showed that 15% of new marriages were between people of different races or ethnicities in 2010. That figure is more than twice the share in 1980. It's interesting to compare the percentage of mixed-race marriages between the states. For example, the highest rate of interracial marriage is in Hawaii and stands at just over 42%. Regarding the whole nation, mixed-race couples account for 8.4% of total marriages. This can further be broken down into the percentage of intermarriages by race. The largest proportion of people marrying outside their ethnic or racial group were Asians.
Asians are the largest group to marry outside their racial group. We have to remember marriages and biracial births was rising as well too. So we have to remember just because there's a birth doesn't necessarily mean there's a marriage. But if there's a marriage, there's most likely going to be a birth.
At 28%, then Hispanics at 26%, blacks at 17%.
So Hispanics at 26, black people at 17%, and whites at 9%. And we also have to take into account population size as well too. So according to the numbers, black people are 14% in the US. I don't know about Asian. White I think is closer to like 50% or something.
And whites at 9%. Studies show that young people under 30 are more amenable to interracial relationships.
Studies show that young people under 30 are more amenable to interracial relationships than older generations. Amala is, so she's actually 22. 22, right? So I'm just pulling out the information that they're putting together. This is not me saying anything about biracial people. This is information straight from
Than
research.
the older generations. This
That picture, there's a National Geographic picture that predicted what America will look like in 2050.
suggests that the millennial generation will play a significant part in the predicted mixed race future of the U.S. Biracial babies. A natural result of the increase in interracial marriages is, of course, an increase in the birth of biracial or multiracial babies. Figures are now recorded on the census and are also becoming much greater because of the way parents choose to identify their children. In the 2000 census, barely 5% of children born were listed on the form as being two or more races. By the 2010 census, more than 7% of the 3.5 million children born in 2009 were of two or more races. The number of children born to Asian and white couples and to black and white couples nearly doubled. This increase was also due to the cultural shift that had taken place. A Brookings Institution demographer, William H. Frey, believes that people are more comfortable in identifying themselves and their children as mixed race because it's more socially acceptable, more mainstream. For example, in the National Geographic feature, 5-year-old Tayden Burrell from Florida considers himself black and white biracial and checked the census box white-black. 7-year-old Yoel Chuck Bautista from California has the self-identity of black Mexican and checked the census box black. His mother Tracy Williams Bautista says her son identifies as black when he's with her and Mexican when he's with his father. She added jokingly, "We call him a Blaxican." Complex heritage.
Okay, so that's all I'm going to play, right? So that was a lot of information to go through in terms of this topic, right? So the changing face of America, running back down again, black conservatives, the idea of the melting pot, get away from the black community, essentially, right? So her being biracial is perfect for her. I think my prediction is that she is going to eclipse. I don't know about the Officer Tatum, but I think she will eclipse Anthony Bryan Logan. She's already eclipsed Black conservative perspective, right? So I think she will even eclipse Candace Owens as well too. Um, let's see here. So she's at 1.1, 479 videos. Does it say? Gotta look at the numbers. Gotta look at the numbers. I just want to check how many videos she has. I'm not seeing it pop up here. I don't know if it's just me. So she has 504 videos, 521. So she's got a bit of work to put in. She's got a bit of work to put in. There's a lot of other topics, newer topics to talk about today. Um, it's all about messaging, right? And when you have a platform, it's all about I mean, she has a blueprint of PragerU, whoever founded it, Thomas Sowell. She's very on the right, right? So essentially, she's just gonna take the playbook, take the blueprint, and just what's the word I'm looking for? Adapt it to what is going on today, and just continue on with the work and the legacy. So now I just want to explain further how her being biracial is gonna help her get a bigger audience in the long run and be one of the leading faces of conservatives. Now, if you really think about it, she is the result of where the country is going, for one. Within that video, it said younger generations under 30 is more amenable to mixed race relations. So her perspective of being mixed race will add to the discussion of the position of conservatives in America, essentially. So that's one aspect. Another aspect is she is the result of not only of where the country is going, but she's also the result of the black conservative solution in terms of the melting pot, getting away from the black community, deep-seated anti-blackness. So when we really run down the list, right, if we get at an even deeper level, Thomas Sowell had a white wife for almost 10 years, divorced. I could not find a picture of the current wife or the children, so that would be a blank. But he did marry a white woman for almost 10 years. For some reason, they didn't have children. So, Officer Tatum, he has a white wife. Conservative twins now. Conservative twins are actually biracial, but they don't use the term biracial. They refer to themselves as black. So, if you think about it, the conservative twins is sort of like the results, but it happened earlier because the parents grew up through segregation and then through civil rights and everything. So the conservative twins are actually biracial, but they call themselves black, but they have non-black wives. They, I know one's Mexican. I'm not sure the other one, but they're not. Both of them are not black. So I don't know about black conservative perspective. I don't know about Anthony Bryan Logan. Larry Elder has a white wife. And when you look at the flip side, you look at Candace Owens, she has a white husband. So all of it really does tie in together. If you look at the black conservatives on a whole, it's a bit of a, I mean, I wouldn't say really mixed, but it's not completely one way or the other. But there is one direction that it is going towards, mainly. So there's a lot. So I think the issue of colorism is going to play a role in Alama eclipsing the older generation conservatives. I think her being biracial will help her. She will be able to get the female audience, I think, of all races, but mainly black and white, I think, are the main one. But I think she could reach all races just being biracial, in a sense, a bit ambiguous, in a sense. So I think that will help a lot with how she will be able to climb as well, too. So ultimately, I think she'll be able to reach a wider audience than Candace Owens, possibly, especially with the younger generation. Her being Gen Z is going to help a lot in terms of her growth. But this is just a prediction, anyways. But in terms of the colorism, do I think it's going to be blatant, outright colorism? No, I think more so. Well, not even more so, but it could definitely be both. It could definitely be conscious or subconscious colorism coming at play in the popularity of Alama. So that's pretty much it. That's why I played the video at the beginning, so help really break it down Um, Not so then it's just I'm speaking from opinion, but I really wanted to have some concrete information there to explain this new generation of conservatism, essentially the result. This is the result, in my opinion, the result of the black conservative, part of the black conservative solution. It's not just going out to the other race and everything. Is definitely politically based. So the first solution is vote Republican to fix the problems in the black community. But this is part and parcel with the black conservative solution. I ran down the list of black conservatives who have non-black wives. So it is what it is. But that's it for this video. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of this topic. If you want me to do more topics like these, let me know in the comment section. Let me know if you think I'm wrong. Let me know what you think of the prediction. But for now, peace out. Thanks for listening.